Hi, I want to show you some more information about embedding content on your website, either a Google site or your Schoolpointe site. First, I'm just going to kind of show you what I'm talking about with a Google site. Google site does have some great embed features built in for the different Google products. If you have a Google site, and do make sure that you're using new Google sites. I don't know why when you go to sites.google.com it doesn't default to new Google sites, but it does not. And if you scroll down here at the bottom, you can see all of these different different Google products like YouTube, Calendar, Maps, all of that stuff. They have kind of a built-in embed feature where you can just open that up, select something from your Google Drive, and it will embed right in your website. And it embeds pretty nicely. Here are two examples of what that looks like. Here I've embedded a slide, and this is a single Google slide. One of the nice things about slides I'll get into in a minute, they embed a little differently when you publish them to the web. And then this is a Google Doc that I've embedded. This problem right here is actually some formatting that's built into my doc because I just pasted it from the slide and I didn't realize it ran off the page. But the biggest thing to notice about how when you embed this way is this little pop-out icon up here in the right of both of these. If you've embedded any kind of Google product using that built-in embed functionality, people have the option of popping that out into its own thing and kind of accessing it in Drive. Or here I have popped out and accessed the Docs version using that kind of pop-out button. And that might be perfect for you. That might be exactly the functionality that you want when you embed the thing, in which case the built-in embed features are a great way to do it. Another way to do it that I'm going to show you with Sheets is by publishing it to the web. So all of the different Google products, Docs, Sheets, Slides, under File, have this Publish to the Web feature. And I'm going to stop publishing this so I can show you kind of from scratch what it looks like. But when you select Publish to the Web, Sheets has some extra options where you can choose, do you want to publish the entire sheet, entire document, or just the one tab, the one sheet? And then do you want to publish it? The rest of them default to a web page, but with Sheets you have some extra options related to kind of the nature of spreadsheets. And then you just click Publish. And then you have access to both a link and an embed code that will give you basically an exact copy of this document on your website. I'm going to use the embed code. With Google Sites, you can kind of use either the link or the embed code, but I'm going to need the embed code when I want to put it in my Schoolpointe site. So here I have my demo site. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of this insert menu and I'm going to choose embed. And I have the embed code, so I'm going to paste that in. If I had the link from the published site, I would just put it under by URL, but I have the embed code. And I press next. And it gives me a little sample of what it looks like. Notice if I use that edit button, I could change it. And also notice that this is really small. This is something I'm noticing with the embed codes in Google Sheets. And it's given me this little bitty thing here. I have found that with Google Sheets in particular, if when I embed it, instead of embedding it with the code, I embed it with the URL. So I'm going to pop back over here and get the link. And then pop back over here and paste that. I find with Google Sheets, the URL is giving me a better result versus the embed code just defaults to this little thing that doesn't quite fit the page. I have not found that problem happens as often with the other products. And notice now, let me publish this and go over to the live site. Now I have this Google Sheet embedded, but there's no pop-out. I can't open this as a separate document now in Drive. As far as people know, it's like a part of my website. Right, now I'm going to show you how to do this with a Schoolpointe site, and I am going to need the embed code this time, which for the Sheets is going to make it end up looking a little funny. I also want to point out that here under Published Content and Settings, The default option is to automatically update the site whenever you change the document. That's why this automatically republish when changes are made is checked. It automatically updates every 5 minutes. But you don't have to have that checked if you don't want that to happen. If you want to be able to make changes without people seeing them and then publish it manually, you can have that set up. You can also require viewers to sign in with their Woods Charter School account in order to access the content. And that's really good because anytime you have student names or faces or images or anything like that, or any personally identifiable information, you want to make sure that that's protected by a Woods Charter login. You don't want that accessible to people, including parents who don't have that Woods Charter access. But if you want something to be visible to parents, like we're hoping that all teachers will communicate a weekly schedule to parents as well as students, you want to make sure that that's not checked. All right, so here I am. I'm on my Schoolpointe site. This is my live Schoolpointe site at the moment, and you can see how with the embed code that sheet is showing up a little funny. It's just something that's going on with the sheets right now. If I go over to this editing feature, I'm going to show you how I did that. Remember, anytime you want to paste in an iframe, you need to select this source button so that you're editing the HTML, and then you just paste in that iframe to embed your sheet. And you can kind of already see how it looks a little funky. If I do this with a Google Doc, file, publish to web, publish, okay, I'm going to get the embed code, take it over here. And then here's my Google Doc. And that's also, to be honest, not looking great. It's a little too narrow, right? So these iframes do have a lot of built-in formatting. Google Docs isn't providing the height and width adjustment for you, but it does exist and you can access it. One good way to get a more flexible iframe is using an iframe generator. And here I am, I'm just at iframegenerator.com, which I originally found by literally just Googling iframe generator. And here I have something that will give me the HTML code for any website to have a embed code that I want. So you could use this to embed pretty much literally anything in a Google site or your Schoolpointe site. I'm going to come back over here to my weekly plan, and this time I'm going to grab the link, and then I'm going to go to my iframe generator, and here where it says iframe URL, I'm going to put the link. And then notice I have a lot of extra options here. I can give it a name, and I can change the width and the height of the iframe, and that's the piece that was missing from kind of the built-in iframe code from Google Docs. And what I would do if I were you is I would just experiment with the right sizing. And notice here, by the way, where it's saying height equals and width equals. If you want, you don't have to keep coming back to the iframe generator to change the width and the height. Once you paste that code in, you can just change the width and height directly here in the little code you made. Or you could keep going back to the iframe generator, whatever works for you. And so now I have an embed that looks a little bit better, right? Let me go to View Live Site. And now I have my weekly plan, and the width is better, right? The width looks about right, but it's not letting me scroll, right? There's no scroll bar built in, and that's because in my iframe generator, under scroll bar, I chose no. And if I change that to yes, I should get a scroll bar. I'm not, and I don't know why, but I should. I didn't save something or something. But you can get it so that there's a scroll bar, or you could just adjust the height so that you could see the entire document at once, whatever worked for you. But these are some ways that you can get content on your website and basically be able to update it more flexibly. It makes it easier to share the content with other people and have them update it if you need them to. This is just a really great trick for getting good looking content that's formatted the way that you want it and putting it in your website in a way that's going to look good and be easy for you to update. One application of this would be having something like a single slide or doc where you always put your weekly plan and just embedding that document in your website once, and then each week you update it in Google Drive, and it's going to automatically communicate to parents what your weekly schedule is and what assignments that you have.